Hello, Revere, and welcome to our show, the Revere Veterans and Community. Today I have a special guest, the lovely lady who's running for Lieutenant Governor. Her name is Karyn Polito. Karyn, welcome to Revere and welcome to the show.
Morris, it's a pleasure to be here.
It's an honor
to be here.
It's an honor, Karyn.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And for providing this service to your community, to Revere.
Right, and I want to say thank you for coming down. Now, I have a list of questions that were given to me by people to ask.
You're just right to business here, Morris.
Oh, yeah. We don't waste any time here.
That's great.
Just like you, Karyn. Thank you. Okay, question number one. What is it like to be a candidate running for office?
Well, let me start by telling a little about myself, because
Please do.
Being a candidate is an incredible experience because you have the opportunity to meet so many people and to travel to places, to neighborhoods, to places like this, and interact in ways that you don't normally do in your everyday life. And so I've had the opportunity to serve my hometown of Shrewsbury, which is right outside of Worcester in central Massachusetts, as a selectman. And then I had the opportunity to serve in state government as a member of the House of Representatives. I served for 10 years. I was a candidate for state treasurer back in 2010. I came close. I got 1 million votes, but I fell a little short. And now I find myself as a candidate running for lieutenant governor with Charlie Baker. And it's just been an incredible year. Charlie and I crisscrossing the state, really listening to what people have to say, you know, their hopes, their dreams, their frustrations. And I'll share all of that with you. But it's an honor to be a candidate, and it would be an honor to serve in the role as lieutenant governor for the Commonwealth.
Right. And let me ask you this, Karyn. What would be your main focus as a lieutenant governor?
Okay, well, let's talk a little about the role of the lieutenant governor. First of all, Charlie Baker and I are a team. Much like you might remember Bill Weld and Paul Cellucci when they were serving, and Mitt Romney and Kerry Healy. We run as a team as candidates because we feel we can introduce ourselves, our experiences, our vision, our plans, and then, you know, as we come into office, which we hope to win on November 4th, as a team ready on day one to roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Right.
And that's what I intend to do.
Is it November the 4th or the 5th?
November the 4th. November the 5th, it's all over.
Oh, okay.
It's November 4th, Tuesday, 70 or so days from now.
So make sure the people, when they go out November the 4th, do the Charlie Baker Karyn Polito ticket.
That's right. That's right. And on September 9th is a primary. Please vote for Charlie and for me on that date and November 4th.
Is there anyone else on the primary besides Charlie and you? I believe Mr. Fisher is
Yes, he is. He's
anyone else beside him?
No.
Okay.
No, there isn't. So as a lieutenant governor, there's a lot that I can do with Charlie. First of all, you know, we believe in lower taxes. We believe in making sure that government works, that we bring good management skills to the system of government so that people get what they need and deserve from our state government. We want to grow jobs and opportunities everywhere in the state so people have the opportunity to work and earn their way and be self-sufficient and be proud of what they achieve in life. I will work on that. I will work on being a liaison to the cities and towns, the managers, and fiscal leaders of the communities. And as a small business owner, I want to reach out to business owners all around the state and let them know that Charlie and I are looking to reduce regulation, reduce the cost of doing business so they can be more productive in their communities. And last, on Beacon Hill, being someone that worked in the legislature, I know how to get things done. You work across party lines. You build coalitions. You get results.
Right, and you have to compromise.
You do. You don't have to compromise your principles.
No.
But you have to work together to get things done. People have a distaste toward politicians because they hear a lot of empty promises and they see a lot of finger pointing. Charlie and I are two people that have served in government, have accomplished things, have gotten things done, and we bring that experience with us on this campaign and hopefully to office after November 4th.
You know, I have a saying, and I got that from somewhere. As a matter of fact, I think I got it at your place.
Okay.
You people do community service, and you do not give us lip service, and that's what I like about. So I always use that, even for the people in Revere, for the casino. We, by the way, talking about Revere, we are looking forward to having a casino coming in here.
Well, I did in the legislature vote in favor of the law because it was all about bringing jobs to the communities that vote in favor of it and that want the casino in their area. I mean, you're accustomed to having a facility like this in your area because of Suffolk Downs. So I can understand why the people here would support it.
Right, and not only that, Karen, we voted twice for it,
Yeah.
and every time it gets higher and higher. You know, it went from 54, 55 up to 60, and then we kept going. We might get 100%. That would be good. Okay, I got another question for you.
Okay.
This concerns everybody in the city of Revere, but also in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Domestic violence. Could you talk to us about that?
Sure. First of all, for my background, graduated from Boston College, then went on to New England School of Law, and it was there that I wrote a law journal about protecting victims of crime. And I carried my passion forward in the legislature and obviously, hopefully, as Lieutenant Governor, to protect women and those that are victims, children, women, because you need a safe home, you need a safe circle around you in order to be productive. And so we need the laws to protect victims that are in those very difficult circumstances. Myself, in the legislature, I was the lead sponsor of Jessica's Law. It was a law to better protect our children from violent sex offenders. It took me several years to get the bill passed, but like we just talked about, working across party lines and getting it done. Protecting victims of crime is not a partisan issue. It's an issue that we need to care about because we need families to be safe. And the laws need to do just that. We need to give law enforcement tools. We need to give the district attorneys tools to prosecute those that harm others in a violent way like that. Charlie and I support a range of reforms that will help victims and help women live in a safe environment every day. And I will continue to advocate for that as I move forward in this campaign and when elected.
Right. What I would like to ask you, Karen, if people want to get a hold of you,
of
they do
course.
have domestic violence, how can they contact you or the help they need?
Oh, sure. They can obviously call their police department first and foremost.
That's the first thing to do?
That's what they should do. There are also various hotlines that they can call through Safe Plan, through the YWCA. And obviously, if they need to reach me on this campaign, you can reach me at karynpolito.com if they want to send me a message or information that they feel would be helpful to help others. We certainly could put people in touch.
That would be good, Karen. Thank you. Question next. Oh, yes, this was a big thing on the news, by the way, not too long ago.
Okay.
The Department of Children and Families was in turmoil. A lot of the kids were found literally murdered or killed, dead. Charlie and Karen released a plan to get it back on track, and tell us about that plan.
Morris, I think what you're referring to is was later in last year and it carried through to this year. The Department of Children and Families is probably the most important agency in the state because you're protecting children.
Right.
These are children that are in the care of our state government because they have no guardian or mother or father that can take care of them. So we, as a state, need to make sure that they are safe. And what we saw was a system that failed those children, failed those families because of mismanagement, because of lack of accountability, and not helping our public workforce, the social workers that are on the front line, have the tools that they need to be successful in managing their caseloads. Charlie and I are managers. I manage a small construction business for my family. Charlie managed Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare from bankruptcy to #1. We have skills to bring to state government to make sure that we build our team, power it up, make them feel real committed to delivering quality services to the people of this state, from our neediest to our veterans, to our families, to anyone that needs service from our state government, and get our state government working again. It's not acceptable to Charlie or I to have failures to the magnitude of that, failures of our healthcare website, failures in the probation department where people are hired that don't have the skills to do the job, failures in the crime lab. There's so many things in our government that we can do better. And Charlie and I just want to get to work fixing our state government, get to work getting our government work again for you.
That's good, Karyn. Thank you for that one. Also on local aid.
Oh, gosh. Where do we start? Okay, the cities and towns. This is where people feel their quality of life. Your police department, your schools, your fire department across the street here. We just had the recent tornado that came through.
I was going to get to that.
And you had to rely on your local government to respond immediately to make the community feel safe. You need resources for that. And right now, Beacon Hill is starving our communities, yet they expect the cities and towns to deliver all these services. Charlie Baker and I both come from local government. I served as a selectman in Shrewsbury. Charlie, a selectman in Swampscott, just up the road here. And we know that people feel their quality of life locally. So we have a plan. And our plan is, when we get to office, we're going to grow state revenues. And say we grow revenue 5% in year one, we're going to make sure we grow the aid back to Revere and to the cities and towns 5%. So that's monies that can be used for your police training or your teachers, or whatever your needs are that might come up on an emergency basis. You will have the resources and a true partner with your state government to get the job done locally. So we've got to do that. We've got to stop passing unfunded mandates. Those are surprises that local government don't need because they can't find the resources to pay for it. They just can't raise taxes. These are working families and businesses that just can't keep footing the bill. You've got to stretch the dollar at state government, make sure it gets to the local government so that they can do what they need to do every day.
You know, Karyn, I'm glad you said what you said, because I tell you why. There was just a recent incident in Ferguson, Missouri. I'm not going to go into it.
Yeah.
You know about that? The country knows about that. They have a thing called GoPro, or which is like a camera they wear on the head. Not all the police departments, I don't know if any of them have them in Massachusetts. They have them on the cars. If you and Charlie get into office, and you're talking about the 5% going back to the cities and towns, would it be possible to make sure that the police department get these little cameras so they can see what happens right from the get-go?
Well, certainly your police chief would determine if that's the equipment he and the department needs to do their job better. There are lots of things that the police officers need, and the firefighters need, and teachers need, and to keep your roads clear in the winter, whatever you need, the monies would be there on the local level. For instance, the state government, the budget has grown to $36.5 billion. That's $100 million a day.
Wow.
They had an increase of $6 billion in the state budget over the past 6 or 7 years, yet they've cut aid to the cities and towns, $700 million. That's not acceptable. We want to share the revenue. We want to make local government work again so that people feel their safety, they feel that they have the best schools possible, and that their police and fire department are well equipped to do their job.
Karyn, I'd like to ask you a question, which we did not discuss on the air before we went on the air.
Okay.
But I went to a shindig, and Mr. Tolman was there, but he's a Democrat. But he had a good idea, because sometimes good ideas do come from the Democrats too, you know.
No party has the market on good ideas.
He wanted to put a fingerprint ID on guns. In other words, it would only be that you can pull the trigger by putting your identification on it. Would that be possible to, like, there's a gun law in Massachusetts, I don't know what it is because I'm not familiar with it, to have the ID so people who do get the guns have their fingerprint ID? In other words, a company to make them so you cannot pull the trigger unless your finger. In other words, if I steal your gun, I couldn't use it.
Okay, so what we're talking about is safety. Obviously, we want to protect our children. We want to protect people in our communities and have safe neighborhoods. And the state legislature just recently and the governor signed into law a new bill in Massachusetts that will require several things. First of all, that they do mental health background checks for anyone purchasing a gun. That, I think, is very important.
Definitely.
And I'm pleased that Massachusetts has done that. They are also going to require the police chiefs have a role in how they grant a license for a gun. and that if someone applies, there's a procedure for determining whether someone is suitable for that. But you have to remember that we have to balance this with people's Second Amendment rights too. And we want to make sure that the rights of responsible gun owners is protected, but at the same time, we want to make sure that those illegal guns that are out there, that we have laws that make sure that we get them off the streets and stop the illegal trafficking of guns, because they are getting in the hands of dangerous people that are hurting others, and that's what we really need to focus on.
No, the reason I mentioned that to you, Karyn, because you've read or you've seen where kids pick up a gun not realizing it's loaded, and they pointed at their brother. That happened recently.
Yeah, it's very sad. And
right.
as a mother of two children, your heart goes out to any mother or family that has had a situation like that. And we understand that, and we feel in Massachusetts we have some of the strictest set of laws relative to guns, and we just passed another law recently that should make it safer for families and children and people in our streets and neighborhoods.
Right. Now, I want to get back to what we were talking about, domestic violence, but not domestic violence. During the summer, we had some hot days here. People go away, and I've seen that myself. They go into the store shopping, but they leave their little child in the car.
Oh, gosh.
You know, sometimes with the windows down this much, sometimes with the windows down not at all. Is that a domestic abuse if a mother or father leave their kid in the car?
Well, I mean, you just got to use your common sense. Obviously, as a mother, there's nothing more precious than
no child.
Your children. And you obviously, as an adult, are responsible for their health and well-being, and you have to use your common sense that in a hot day in a car, even on a non-hot day, you wouldn't leave your children unattended in a car.
Right, and not even an animal in the car.
You just would not do that.
Right. Okay. Now I'd like to get to something else into the city of Revere. We have a market basket that's empty. People are looking for jobs. There's plenty of jobs to be put once it's settled. The cousins are arguing over it. If you were governor, not lieutenant governor, but governor, God bless you, maybe you will be someday, what would you do to rectify the situation?
Well, let me say this. First of all, I come from a family business. My great-grandfather came from Sicily years ago, and, he came to this country with the idea that he could work hard and earn his way, and he actually made concrete blocks and started out with a very menial job. Then he earned some money, and he bought a piece of equipment and started a construction business, and now I run the real estate and construction business for my family. So Market Basket is a family business that has been grown over the years.
A $3 billion plus.
25,000 jobs, good jobs for families that get up every day, go to work, pay their bills, pay their taxes, play by all the rules. They're doing everything right. We are concerned mostly about them because they want to work and they have good jobs. So we, as a government, need to make sure that those jobs remain in place, because what's next? If that job goes away, then they could be collecting unemployment benefits
welfare
from the state and get on a path that they're not self-sufficient, and that's certainly, we do not want to encourage that. So it would be incumbent upon the governor to be able to sit with the parties and bring an objective influence and urge them to resolve it as quickly as possible so that you keep these families intact and keep those jobs in place and keep the markets open that are affordable to families where they buy their groceries. And how about all the farmers and vendors and suppliers of the market basket that require that business being operational to sustain their livelihood as well. So it was very disruptive. It seems that it's moving along to be resolved, and that's a very good thing.
And I hope by the time this show airs, Karyn, that then we'll be settled.
Right.
Okay.
That the insecurity for people in that situation is very real and very difficult.
Some of them live from paycheck to paycheck.
That's correct.
Right. Another thing I would like to talk about with you, if it's okay, is about immigration.
Yes.
About people coming into our state. And I want to use the word legally. That's what I want to use. How do you feel about that, if I may?
Well, I just told you a little about my family story, how
Let's have-
my great-grandfather came here, my grandmother came here from Sicily at the age of 8, and how the families, worked together and lived together, and they relied on their faith and their labor to succeed in a country where the English was not their first language, but they managed through working together to succeed. And we want that opportunity available to everyone that wants to come to our country legally to avail themselves of the opportunity of the American experience. That's very important. And it's important also that we have laws that protect and give preference to those families and people that do follow those channels.
Right.
And Charlie and I honor that. For instance, Charlie and I do not support giving driver's licenses to those that are not here legally. We also do not support providing reduced tuition to those that do not have the proper documentation here, because those are benefits that should be given to those that are here legally and contributing to our tax base and contributing to our community. And I think about the families, the moms and dads that are saving for their kids' college education. They should be able to get that discount as a preference and as a priority.
Right. Now, before we continue, this is a veterans and a community show.
Yes.
You are a veteran of the community, but a veteran of the Commonwealth. We would like to present you with a flag, which is from the Revere Veterans Service and the Revere Allied Veterans Council.
Oh, I thank you for that. That's very, very touching.
And also an abstention. Is that the right word?
Yes, I'll take it to him.
That's from Mr. Charlie Baker. By the way, is Mr. Baker a veteran, if I may ask you?
He is not, but we obviously
He's a
appreciate
veteran of the community.
Well, that's a big title to give to us, because you are a veteran. You served our country in a war, and
Well,
we
I
thank
wasn't
you
in
for that.
actual combat. I was too young then.
Well, we thank you for your service, and we thank all those that have served, and all those that continue to serve, and to the families that have to sacrifice for their loved one for being away. Let me just speak to veterans and services.
Please do. We'd love
Because
to.
when I hear the words homeless veteran, it breaks my heart. And when I see that veterans that come back from service and transition back to civilian life and find it difficult to find a job, that breaks my heart. We need to do more for veterans to make the transition more streamlined and more efficient and stable for their families. There's a lot more that we can do there. I'll just touch on this because I think it's a key part of it as well, is health care, and making sure the delivery of health care benefits to our veterans, to our seniors, to our families in Massachusetts works. Charlie Baker ran Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. He knows healthcare. He was a secretary to the Health and Human Services under Bill Weld and Paul Cellucci. We need that level of experience right now because healthcare has changed so much. When I was in the legislature, I voted for healthcare reform because I wanted to make sure that everyone had access to a healthcare. Now, with the change in the healthcare website and the changes in the system, there are many people falling back. And we need to make sure that no one falls through the cracks, particularly our veterans and our seniors who are people that need our helping hand. Government's supposed to be there for the people that need help the most. We need to make sure that the waste and the fraud and the abuse is eliminated. We need to make sure that government works again. People that can work and earn their way, and make sure that the safety net works for the most vulnerable people that are our neighbors.
Right. Karyn, I would like to say, talking about seniors, we have one of the best senior centers in the Commonwealth, if not the best. Okay? And I'm not knocking anybody else down, but we do have one of the best. Thanks to our Mayor, Dan Rizzo, and to the people at the Senior Center and our director, Mr. Steve Fielding. I would like to invite you to come down and speak to the seniors.
Oh.
When you get a chance, whether you elect the governor, lieutenant governor or not, we would still love to have you come down there. So an open invitation to you. I'll give you the information, who you can call, and then you make an appointment with Mr. Fielding. Would you do that for us?
I'll be definitely doing that, and to the mayor and to you and all the others. Senior centers are a good, vibrant place, and I have a feeling the seniors here in Revere know how to have a good time at the senior center. I'm happy to come.
Right. Someday we're all going to, well, not me, but I mean, we're all going to be seniors here, and you never know when you may want to use it.
Well, it's just to get out, have a good meal, have some fun, use your mind,
Right.
be physically active. I'm all for it. I'll be there.
Okay, it would be a pleasure to have you. Now, we have about 3 minutes left. Take 2 minutes and wrap it up with whatever you would like to, Karyn.
Well, I want to thank you for this opportunity, and just to stress to your listeners, elections matter. There are people that have served our country for the freedoms that we have. I encourage people to be informed about this election. This is an open seat for governor, and you're making a choice about the next 4 to 8 years. Charlie Baker and I are the right people. We're the right brand of leaders, and we have the right experience to lead our state forward in a better and new direction, get our government working again so that it works for you. I'm asking for the vote for Charlie Baker and Karyn Polito on Election Day, starting on September 9th and again on November 4th. And thank you, Revere, and I hope to earn your support.
Right, Karyn, and I want to thank you for coming down and spending a half an hour with us.
I loved it.
God bless you for coming down. I would like to thank our people of Revere for listening, but most of all, God bless our service people that are serving overseas or in this country, but most of all, bless our great country, the United States of America. Thank you all for listening. Until the next time, I hope we have another great guest like you, Karyn. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless.
You too.